What up? 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 It's your boy, Mr. B-E-A-Z-Y 215. No Easy Outlet, the podcast. You dig? You in here with your boy, Eagle Sunday. It's game day. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's right. It's your boy, No Easy Outlet, the podcast. Eagles, Chiefs. We here for it. Game day later, coming up. We got some stuff to speak about. That's right. Let's talk about it. Come on, bring them in, bring them in, bring them in. Like, share, comment. It's your boy, Mr. B-E-A-Z-Y. You see what it is? You know what time it is? Game day. Super Bowl rematch. Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. Part 2. The rematch. Is the hype real? Is the hype real for what we gonna see today? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Eagles game day. Eagles game day. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. Do I think it's gonna be the hype of the Super Bowl rematch? No, I don't. No, I don't. I think they're gassing that, and I get it. First time you see them after the Super Bowl, we did it in 23 after the loss to the Super Bowl in 22. And I just don't think the hype is going to live up to, like, listen, that defense that Kansas City Chiefs team saw in the Super Bowl, that was Vic Fangio's defense in its final form. Now remember, through the first 4 weeks of the season going into that bye, we was 2-2. Everybody wasn't feeling a whole lot of what was going on with the offense, the defense, and a lot got worked out in that bye, and it was all for the better, all for the great. Wouldn't change it for a thing in the world. So when you look at this matchup, and you think back to 23, Nick Sirianni walking through the tunnel, yelling at Kansas City fans, and it just didn't hit, because when you lose in the Super Bowl and then you win a regular season game, it's like it just don't add up when they got the rings. And that's what today's going to hold for Kansas City, win, lose, or draw. It's not going to add up to what happened in the Super Bowl. I damn sure know that the Eagles is not going to come out and let y'all do what we did to y'all in the Super Bowl to us, regular season or not. So I just feel like this defense that's going to be out there today is far. First of all, Adoree Jackson is starting at CB2. So I'm just going to start there and say that this defense that we putting out on the field today versus the Kansas City Chiefs is far, far from its final form. It's far from its final form. I guarantee you, this defense that you've seen out there against Dallas, that you're going to see out here against Kansas City, will not be the defense that we show up to in the first game of the playoffs with. So with that being said, I know that it's far from its final form. So Kansas City is not getting the best that they got in the Super Bowl when they got that offense at its final form after Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni was able to work out the kinks and figure exactly what they wanted this offense to be. Vic Fangio, after he was able to put his pieces in, get Cooper DeJean going, find out how to use Zach Bond, like that was the Eagles' defense in its final form. That's what you saw when we got to the Super Bowl. So in week 2, this offense and Kevin Patullo, they are far from finding their final form. This offense and Kevin Patullo is far from finding their final form. So in week 2, Kansas City is not getting the best version of us. Just like in 22 when we won and Nick Sirianni was walking through the tunnel yelling at Kansas City fans and it just fell flat because, of course, we just lost in the Super Bowl. What else happened after that? Yeah, we beat Kansas City and they went on to win a Super Bowl that year. So, you're not getting the final form of either team this early in the season. So maybe some form of revenge if they can find a way to figure it out, just like in 22, 23 when it was us. But it ain't going to feel the same. We made history in that Super Bowl. What we did in that Super Bowl had never been done. And not only what we did in that Super Bowl had never been done, what we did in that Super Bowl, first of all, we cloned a slogan that is now sweeping worldwide. We put belt to ass. That is now a literal thing. We made that on the baby face of the league. We did that. That was us. That was us who did that. So no, there's no getting back for that. The only getting back is we got to meet at the bowl, which brings me to Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Only in sports and possibly entertainment and very few walks of life do you get an enemy and a rival that makes you better. Like Jalen Hurts having Patrick Mahomes as a real life rival because he feels like he stole something from him. Jalen should literally have 2 rings right now. Jalen should have 2 rings right now. And ever since then, he's changed. And he's changed the form and the focus of Jalen Hurts. And if that makes him the guy that he is, and the rivalry is to meet at the bowl, how can you not be mad at having a rival that make you better? The goal is to meet at the bowl. And so hopefully that happens, even though in my mind, my early prediction is Eagles, Ravens, Super Bowl, Lamar versus Hurts, Derrick Henry versus Saquon Barkley, that type of thing. That's what I see this year. I don't see the Chiefs getting back, but a couple guys out for the game. I think Dallas Goedert is out. I think it's listed as questionable, but I think he's out. We know Van Sorum's out, N'Kobe's out, Johnny Wilson's out, Cameron Williams out, Tanner McKee listed as questionable, but he's out. Will Shipley out. So we got a couple of guys out. I think Kansas City does too. But my keys to victory today is going to be the offensive line. Now, granted, I don't put a lot of stock into what happens in week 1s of any season, especially with this particular coaching staff, this coach, this team. They don't play a lick of preseason football. So I always expect rust, and I expect, because guys haven't played that long of football, but they are 2-0, and those 2-0 Packers, and this year they slow starts, but they win the game. And I think we just got to give them time to cook. But I think we won't see, for sure, we will not see Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown have 1 catch today. Now, as much as I can't stand the Cowboys, I have to say, I personally believe that that right now, today, that the Cowboys secondary is better than what they have in Kansas City. Now I know Spags, I know they got Spags, and he gonna make it work. But I believe that secondary with Diggs and Bland and them guys. I think they have a better secondary than what Kansas City has. So I expect AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson to cook today. And I might even get some Michi sighting, especially if Goddard's going to be out and not playing. Grant Katera is nice, but he doesn't demand a whole bunch of targets or whatever. So um, I expect Kansas City to come out and try to reduplicate the defense that they performed in the Super Bowl. Even though that got like 40 points hung on them. I'm hoping that this is why the key is offensive line for me, because if those guys can figure it out how to give Hurts time back there like they did in the Super Bowl, and possibly be able to open some of these holes up for Saquon to get a little juice going. And I'm interested to see if Biggs gets some carries in this game today, or if he does some returns. But the big question mark is going to be, you're getting an angry Jalen Carter back today, who is well rested because he didn't play a lick last week, so he's not dinged up or anything like that. So he's coming out hungry, ready to make an impact, probably ready to make up for last week. And he destroyed that offensive line in the Super Bowl. He literally destroyed them. And now you have a pissed, angry Bull ready to just wreak havoc, and that could be a problem. So we could see this defense play a little bit better having Jalen Carter back, because he's definitely going to hopefully be under control. I'm sure he will after that's just happened to him and everything. I'm sure he's going to be much betterly under control. Hopefully he can just maintain his composure with the little things in the game, but he's going to command a double team, and that double team is going to free some guys up. And if you think about last week's game, Dak got away from some sacks that should have been at least 3. We should have had at least 3 sacks, 2 interceptions. So hopefully our corners have been working on the jugs machine, and they are catching passes and working on those things, so we can actually haul these interceptions in, that we actually had some shots at, because Dak literally gave that game away a couple of times if we hold on to the football. Now, we know we can't play with Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes is going to do some Patrick Mahomes-like things. We saw that against the Chargers. We saw, and we know this animal. We know this beast that is Kansas City. They are old. They are old. They are not what they used to be, but they are still dangerous. Week 2, we got a lot of growth to do. I just know that this is not the final form of this defense. What they got in the Super Bowl, they got Vic Fangio's final form of what his defense is. And week 2, this ain't it. But a hungry, angry Jalen Carter is coming to eat. And that was a problem in the Super Bowl. It's going to be a problem today. And I think it's going to make the whole defense play better. But Adoree Jackson playing at all is a problem for me. Adoree Jackson playing at all, that is a problem. But I think, just like a quarterback or whatever, Adoree Jackson is going to play in this game, but he's going to have a very, very short leash. Jacorian Bennett and those guys that they have in rotation are going to be ready to go. I'm not sure, except for, Eagles like to be loyal to their players while we're sticking with Adoree Jackson. I know it was week 1, and maybe he has a better game this week playing lesser receivers. Kansas City coming in with some injuries, so maybe this is a good get-back week for Adoree Jackson. Maybe Adoree Jackson can find a way to make Eagles fans embrace him in some way. So we will definitely see about that. I think that it's going to be a fairly high scoring game. I'm going to go 27-34. 27-34 Eagles. Uh, I just feel it's going to be a lot going on in this game, and that cornerback too, Adoree Jackson playing worries me. But either way, I still see the Eagles pulling it out. We got the guy Jalen Hurts at the helm, and as long as this offensive line can give him the time and create a little crease for Barkley, yeah, this game is. Will it be like the Super Bowl? I don't know about that because once again, what they got in the Super Bowl was the final form. This is week 2. Where was we at this time when we was 2-2 going into the bye? You know, a lot of questions and a lot of things had to change. So it's very early in the season. The biggest question mark coming into this game that have to be answered is Eagles cornerback position. How will the corners and Vic Fangio and what will the rotation be? How short is the leash for Adoree Jackson? And on offense, the question is Kevin Patullo. How will Kevin Patullo cook with the tools that he got? You got all the ingredients that you need. How will Kevin Patullo cook? This offense has to be better. But let's not forget, Kellen Moore needed time to adjust and find a game plan for these weapons too. So it is very, very early. Very, very early. We got to be patient. We got to be patient. Got to be patient, especially when it's still equating to wins. But I don't think we're going to get what I think the Dallas game was a special situation. Week 1, that's what you got. Week 2, I'm prepared to see them open it up a little bit. And I expect to see a whole lot more out of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But if that does not happen and the Eagles win the game, I'm not going to be one of those guys out here crying about how they did it. You know, Sunday to Sunday is a week to week game, and you got to approach it different. You can't always do the same. It's not always going to look pretty, but did you win? Because that's all that matters when you get to the playoffs. All those gaudy numbers and everything don't matter if you don't win. And I think that is the key point that Jalen Hurts, this coaching staff, and this team is trying to drive home. So the keys to the game is going to be cornerback 2. Are they going to move Cooper DeJean out there, or is Adoree Jackson going to be on a short leash with Jacorian Bennett and others in the wings waiting in rotation? And Kevin Patullo, can he find a way? You got all the weapons in the tool chest. Can you find a way to put the tools to work to get this engine to run the way it should? Offensive line, can you guys protect and give the time for the receivers to develop their routes? And can you open the holes for Saquon? It was a problem in the Super Bowl, but you did give Jalen the time to make the throws, and Jalen was able to use his legs. So the offensive line, defense corner 2, Kevin Patullo. And I think if all of those things go well, the Eagles win this game, and they win this game by at least a touchdown. By at least a touchdown. And that's just the early keys. Before we get up out of here, though, we got our week 2 pick sheet, of course, for this week's game. Week 2's little pool we do at work or whatever. You know, we got the pick sheets or whatever. So, of course, I had Green Bay over Washington. Eagles fan. I ain't gonna pick the rival to win unless I'm putting a crunch. As you will see, I had to, but I had Green Bay over Washington. Then what we got? We had Cleveland at Baltimore. I took Baltimore. We had Jacksonville at Cincinnati. I took Cincinnati in that game. Jacksonville versus Cincinnati. I took Cincinnati. Then we had Giants versus Dallas. hurts my heart to have to be this, but the come on, the Giants is ass. So I had to take Dallas. It's the battle of ass versus ass, but Dallas is less ass. We got Chicago versus Detroit. I took Detroit. I don't believe in Caleb Williams. I know it's a lot of people who do. I'm not a fan. I don't believe in Caleb Williams. We had New England versus Miami. I took Miami. I expect Miami to have a get-back game. I expect Miami to have a get-back game. And I just don't believe in what they have going on down there in New England right now. I don't. Let's be honest. San Francisco, New Orleans. I took San Francisco. New Orleans going through some major growing pains. Buffalo, the Jets. It's the Jets. I took Buffalo. Seattle, Pittsburgh. I took Pittsburgh. Darius Slay, Ramsey. I like that defense they got going out there. I think that creates a lot of problems for Seattle. Rams, Tennessee. I took the Rams. Carolina, Arizona. I took Arizona. Philadelphia, Kansas City. I don't know. Who you think I took? Philadelphia. Atlanta, Minnesota. I took Atlanta. I don't think Minnesota could survive in a game against Atlanta the way they started their game the other night. They was just allowed to hang around, and they found a way to pull it out. Monday night game, Tampa Bay and Houston. That's a real toss-up game right there for me. I took Tampa Bay. I think I believe in Geno Smith a little bit more than I do Stroud. Chargers in Vegas. I took the Chargers. I like what they got going on over there. So, yeah, I took the Chargers. I think I had, for our tiebreaker, it was the total points scored in both Monday night games. I took 90 points in both Monday night games. So, yeah, man, Eagles football. Eagles, Kansas City coming up soon. We're about to start another live stream here. We're about to jump in and watch the Cowboys and the Giants. That's right. We're going to watch the Cowboys and the Giants. We going on Op Watch. That's what we doing. We going on Op Watch. So we got about 30 minutes to the game. We're going to get ready and prepared to go on Op Watch. See what happens in this game. Watch Dak, Spit Scott, Pick Scott, Prescott, whatever you want to call them, versus this trash Giants team and Russell Wilson. But it's your boy, Mr. B-E-A-Z-Y 215. No Easy Outlet, the podcast. And yeah, we about to get ready for Op Watch. We're going to restart the stream and we're going on Op Watch. Giants versus Cowboys. We're going to be tuned in for that. It's your boy, Mr. B-E-A-Z-Y 215. No Easy Outlet, the podcast. You dig?